Good afternoon, guys. Thanks for coming in. I'm going to give it a few minutes, make sure everyone is here. Yeah, Alexia, I'm always going to try and get Bert a little dressed up for the occasion. We're going to do some resistance band stuff today. Hopefully have some fun. As we go through this session, obviously some of it's going to be based around having long resistance bands, short resistance bands. Sometimes people have different things. So if you're at any point when I'm describing it, your band or the equipment you have doesn't allow you to do that, let me know in the comments. If I can at the time, I'll give you some options. If that's not possible or I don't get around to it in the middle of when we're doing it, then please do leave a message for me or message me on my Instagram, either way. And then we can make sure that you're training hard in this quarantine time. We'll give it another 60 seconds or so and then we will get started. Hey Zena, hey Irfan, good to see you here. Sarah, good to see you as well. Lauren, Nicholas, good to see you in. Alright, well look, good afternoon. Welcome to Lanserhof at the Arts Club Instagram live class. Today it's going to be resistance band training, and again it's going to be a class, a little bit of a tutorial as well, so if the pace is a little bit slow at times, I apologise. I just want to try and make sure that you guys can learn these movements as well. I think that's really, really important, especially because around the house doing them in a bit of a different way to normal might be a bit of a challenge. I want to make sure you can take this away and do this more often as well. Predominantly going to be using two different types of band today. We're going to have a mini band, and we're also going to have a long band, or sometimes people call them a super band. Again, hopefully you have one of each. If you don't, you have one or the other. Again, I'm going to try and give you as many options as I can to do each exercise. It may be slightly different when you do it, but each exercise in a different way. I am wearing shoes. Again, just because sometimes we're going to put in the band under our feet, things like that, you might find that's more comfortable. Some people feel that the band might dig into their feet. If you're comfortable doing it barefoot, absolutely fine. That's entirely up to you. As always, leave me messages, let me know how it is if you have any feedback as we're doing it. Otherwise, we'll try and have some fun. Make sure you work nice and hard as well. Okay, so we're just going to start seated, and we're going to start by doing some footwork with our long resistance band, okay? If you don't have a long resistance band, you can do these first bits with a towel or a yoga strap or anything, a belt, anything that gives you a little bit of reach, okay? So all we're going to do is lie down flat onto our back, sitting upright. You're going to take the band around, just around the ball of your foot, and the leg is straight. So all we're going to do is try and pull against. So we really try and create flexion into our toes, and then keeping that tension in the band, try and push away, flexing into it. So a little pull, and push away, and just trying to get a little stretch into the back of our leg. It's important that we get prepped, and like we do in every class that we're going to do here at Lanserhof, we're going to make sure that you're working hard, okay? So we're just going to spend 30 seconds or so working on a little flex. We're going to work our way up the body, getting ourselves nice and prepped as we go. Good, couple more. Good, and switch. Just cross that over to the other side, just below the ball of your foot. Legs straight, pull the toes right up, really try and create as much flexion. And again, if you feel that stretch into the back of your calf, that's perfect. If you did my class yesterday, you might be feeling the legs a little bit, it's a good thing. Try and push away into a stretch, and then pull it back in. Push away, and then pull back in. As long as you can feel the work in the back of your leg, that is all we're looking for. Good, another 3, 2, and 1. We're going to work and try and stretch a little bit into your hamstrings and get the hips mobilized now. So you're going to lie down flat onto your back. Take your long band or your strap or your belt, whatever you've got. Again, around the ball of your foot, this time in the right leg. Leg comes up towards the ceiling. Left leg stays bent, foot flat. So all we're going to do is control it down to the floor, keeping a bit of tension on the band, okay? Keep the legs straight, bring it down so it gets just below, just above the floor, and then come back up. Come back down, and come back up. As we come back up, we're thinking about keeping our hips down. What I don't want to see you do is lift up onto your lower back, because we want to feel that stretch into the back of the leg. Now your range and my range are going to be very different here, so don't feel like you've got to force into a certain amount of stretch. Just get to the point where you feel the tension to the back of the leg, or you feel a bit of tension into the side of your hip. Another 3, 2, one more time for me, bring it down. Pause, this time we create circle, we come wide. Keep the left leg still as the right leg loops up to the top. And again, comes down, keep the left hip still as we come round and loop up towards the ceiling. We're going to keep this motion going, coming down and creating a big loop out wide. So a hip circle now. Again, anyone who's done reformer Pilates will have done this type of movement many times. Good, one more time and then we're going to switch legs. Good, perfect work. Grab the loop, switch that over to the other side for me. Now again, if you've only got a mini band for doing this, again, use a belt, use a towel, something that you can wrap around the leg. The actual movement in the band isn't important now, it's just being able to give something that can create a little bit of tension for the leg. Right leg bent, left leg goes straight up, take a bit of tension into the band, controlling down just above the floor, before lifting high, getting to that point where you feel the stretch into the back of your leg. And again, if my hamstring range is different to yours, that's absolutely fine, that's really normal, okay? With each repetition, try and get just that fraction more range so you can get a little bit more stretch. With warming up through the muscles, starting to get a little bit more mobility through the joints. Good, another 10 seconds or so. One more time, now we come into that circle. So coming up, looping out wide, keeping the right leg still, don't let it wobble, keep your balance. Coming wide, looping round, and up towards the ceiling. Come wide, almost as down to the floor as you can, and loop up and round. Might feel the adductor, the inner thigh muscle starting to get a bit of work as we do this. Certainly some of those muscles around the hips, if they're a little tight, will really enjoy this motion. 2 more for me. Good, one more time. Good, lovely work. Good. Okay, so I'm going to think about now how we control for a little bit through the top half of our body and start to get warmed up here. So we're going to do a seated row, okay? Now, you can have this leg straight if you feel comfortable. Some people feel a bit tight in the hamstrings. They can be slightly bent here, but not too much bend in the knees. So we want a little bit of tension. Good posture. And we're just going to squeeze between our shoulder blades and out. Squeeze and out. So we're just creating that rowing motion, that pull between our shoulder blades. Thinking about being tall in our posture as we create that motion. Pull your shoulder blades back and together. We're really going to work on prepping that movement a bit more, but I want to start to encourage a bit of arm and shoulder work. If you don't have a long band for this, you have your smaller band, you can take your hands inside, push out just a fraction onto that band, and create that same squeeze between your shoulder blades. This time trying to create the tension by pushing out with the shoulder. That little bit of external rotation of your shoulder works the middle of your back. So don't push from your wrists, try and create it from your arms and squeeze through the shoulder blades, okay? Good, but if you've got the long band, you can keep working on that row. We're gonna go for about another 20 seconds or so, trying to get that big squeeze in between our shoulder blades. Try and pause for a fraction when you get there. Feel that squeeze, hold it. 5, 4, 3, 2, one more time, squeeze back, pause and hold, and relax. Not bad at all. Okay, so we're going to move on to a bit of work with our mini band now. We're going to start to get our glutes and our hips and our abs working now, because we did a little bit of prep for the hamstrings and for your lower legs. So the band goes outside your knees, but below the knees, okay? So just below the knees on the outside, okay? Now again, if you did my Pilates class, you would have done some of these, and again, you may be feeling it. So again, you don't need to do it to the point where you're fatigued. We're doing this until those muscles are really working, okay? So feet hip width apart, knees just ever so fractionally pushed out against that band. You want to feel a bit of tension onto the band. That's the key, okay? Because what it's going to want to do is drag your knees together. Don't let it happen. Push out nice and wide, hands by your side. We create a pelvic tilt, okay? So rib cage down, belly button down, squeeze your glutes and just lift your hips 1 inch off the floor and come back down. We're just trying to teach your abdominals and glutes to work together here, okay? So fingertips under your lower back if you need to. Squash your fingertips, pull the rib cage down. That's going to enable you to tilt your hips, and that means you're going to start to fire up your glutes and abs. As you continue to do this, you may notice, or may not notice, in fact, that your knees are starting to fall together. Keep that tension on the band. Once you start to feel the muscles in your backside, your glutes work, really squeeze them hard at the top. Be really exaggerating once they lift an inch off the floor. Really squeeze them. If you're not sure if they're working, use your hands. Feel your glutes. You should be able to encourage them by just feeling them and knowing whether they're working. Should be able to feel a little bit of abdominal activation as well as we create that tilt. As you feel comfortable with that, you can start to lift up further. Each repetition lifting up an extra inch, an extra vertebrae. Roll through your spine, remember, as you lift up. No one lifting like a plank of wood. We're creating that tilt. We're rolling all the way through that motion high and all the way through that motion back down. Keep the tension on the band, okay? Don't lose that tension. That tension out on the band is going to help us get our glutes to really fire up. Good. We're going to go for about another 5 seconds. And you're going to hold at the top, okay? From here, all you're going to do is walk your feet away until you're onto your heels only, and then walk the feet back in. Don't allow the band to bring your knees close. Keep that width on the band as we walk the feet away. Keep that width as we walk back in. Try to keep your hips up as much as you can. And you should begin to feel work into your hamstrings. Hamstrings are going to work to contract, to not allow you to fall down. Keep thinking about using your abs to stabilize that position. It's tough. If you need to reset at the top each time, that's absolutely fine. And you should expect to do so every couple of reps at least. Good. Keep that tension out on the band as we control through this motion. Extending away. Keep that ab squeezed. Keep the glutes engaged as we walk back in. Good. Time for 2 more. Keep that tension out on that band. If anything, be a little bit more exaggerated. Squeeze out on it a little harder. Good. One more time. Big glute squeeze, big ab squeeze. Tilt the hips, roll and drive the hips up. Keep the feet apart so the knees don't come together. Keep the tension on the band. Walk the feet away. Feel the tension. Pause. Keep the tension on the band. Keep the hips high as you come back in. And then relax all the way down. And that should make your hamstrings start to fire up. I hope so. If your hamstrings aren't too bad, wonderful news. You're going to find the deadlifts later really fun. Okay, little hamstring stretch now. So like before, take the long band just around the balls of your feet, flat onto your back, and take both legs up and try and straighten both legs up. Really push them high. Try and get a stretch into the back of your leg. If you find it tough to get both legs straight, bring one leg down and really try and focus on getting one leg to get a really good stretch into the back of the leg. And again, my range, your range, everybody's range is going to be different. There's no certain amount of movement you should have. So just try and get to a point where you feel a bit of stretch, and that's all that is important. So if you do a single leg, you can switch. If you're doing a double leg, keep going with the stretch. Good, not bad. We're nearly finished prepping the legs. The last thing we have to do is start thinking about how we use our glutes. So we use them a little bit there in that pelvic tilt to control what we call hip extension, but they also control external rotation. So we're going to take the mini band again, and you're going to pop it to the outside of your legs again, and again, just below your knees. Now again, we're going to do just a small set of clamshells, because we want to get your glutes to be really, really fired up here, okay? So again, if you've done my Pilates class, you'll know how I want these done. That's lying on your side, bending the elbow so your hand and your head sits into your hand. Now again, I don't want the knees in front. It's not how we teach them. We want to be out of hip flexion. So feet tucked right back behind you, hand on the hip, lean forward. Feet together and push the top knee up towards the ceiling in a clamshell motion without moving anything else. You can help by pushing the right knee down as the left leg lifts up. And again, as you push against that band, you're going to start to feel that glute work really quickly. And all we're going to do is we're going to add a hold. We're going to try and add a little bit more what we call time under tension. So you're going to lift up, you're going to pause there, hold with that squeeze. 3, 2, 1. Come back down and do it again. Each time you do it, I want you to try and get that little bit further. Push that little bit harder. 3, 2, 1. And again, we're going to do this 3 more times. Really push against it. Really push against that band. Heels together, bottom knee into the ground. 2, 1. Good. And again. 3, 2, 1. Good, one last time. Really push against it. Get as much pressure into it. Feel that glute really squeeze. 3, 2, and 1. Really good. Only a short little set, that's perfect. We do the same onto the other side now. Okay, so again, the band is just below the knees, lying onto your side. Elbow bends, hand supports your head. Feet tucked back, so we've got that straight line through the body. Right hand on the right hip to keep it still. Feet together. Top knee lifting up, and back down. Again, as we lift up now, we're going to add a pause. Hold that squeeze. Feel that glute engage. Feel it with your hand if you need to. 3, 2, 1. Back down. We're going to do 4 more of those. Keep that little lean forward. Don't allow yourself to lean back, okay? Lifting up, pausing and holding. Heels together. 3, 2, 1. Each time you do it, try and get that little bit more range, okay? Lift up. Really squeeze against it. 3, 2, 1. And again. Challenge that range. Really stretch it. 3, 2, 1. Couple more times. 3, 2, 1. Good. One last time. Really lift up hard as you can. Really squeeze against it. Feel that glute engage. Push the bottom leg down. 3, 2, 1. And relax. Very good. Now again, if you felt a little bit into your glutes from that, that's wonderful. If it's not too bad, then I'm delighted that you've got really, really glute engagement. If you don't have a mini band, when you're doing that, just take your longer band and almost tie it around your knee so you get that same tension, okay? So we're now going to do a side step, okay? So I've taken the band off first, so I just want to talk about the movement before we get into the band. The side step movement is going to be a half squat, okay? So it's going to be a little bit of bend at the knees, bit of bend at the hips. Don't let the knees fall forward. Think about your hips being stuck out behind you. Maintain good posture, so get a little squeeze between your shoulder blades. All we're going to do from that is move from side to side, so stepping away, bring the feet together. We're going to do 2 in each direction, okay? You're going to keep your mini band on. And again, if you've got the longer band, just tie it so it's still just below your knees, okay? So same motion. Hips out, slight bend of the knee, so a half squat position. Little lean forward, so we want hip flexion. That's important to get the glutes to work. So you're going to be looking down towards the floor a little bit, okay? Push the knees wide so you feel the tension. Step away, feet together. Step away, feet together. And we're going to do 2 to each side. If you have room for 3 or 4, then great. We're maintaining that position. We are going to keep going for this for 60 seconds now, okay? Try to stay a little low. If you find it starts to get a little easy, come a little bit lower or slow it down. What I don't want to see is your knees falling together. We want to keep them apart. If you're finding that it's tough on the hips, it's tough on your lower back, stay tall and do the same thing, but try and take a slightly extended step. But if you can maintain that hip flexion, keep going with it. Good. About 15 seconds to go. If you need to just step up, shake the legs out a little bit, that's absolutely fine. Good. Good. Not bad. Should be fine. Your glutes are working. When you're ready, you can take the band off. We're going to just do one more little exercise to prep the shoulders before we start our hard work. So we're going to do some banded arm openers, okay? So that means you're going to take your band, one hand at each end of a long band. I'll show you a short band version in a minute. From there, we're just going to create a loop. Bit of tension on the band, bring it all the way around to your hips, at the back of your hips, and into the front of your hips. So we're just creating this forward and back motion. Now obviously we've just done an exercise where we've talked about engaging and using your abs, okay? So what I don't want you to do is as you reach the arms up, is to lift up through the rib cage. Quite the opposite, we want to create that squeeze into our abdominals. So as we lift up here, we're not extending, we're using our arm and shoulder range to control the movement. Again, slowing it down makes it harder, putting more tension on the band makes it harder. Keep that going. If you've only got a mini band, then we're just going to do an overhead raise, which means a little bit of tension on the band, reach up and over our head, and back. Again, same thoughts about using your abs. Don't lean into it, squeeze your glutes and abs as you reach up and down. We're going to go for about another 10 seconds. Three, two, and one, and now a little bit of rotation. So take the band, the long band, again, good grip, good bit of tension, almost a slight squat position. Keep a bit of tension on the band as you allow yourself to gently rotate from side to side. If you've only got a little band, same thing as before, take a good grip and rotate. Exactly the same. Try and let your head follow the band, so you're turning through your torso, not just pushing your arms away. Three, two, and one. Very good, very good. Okay, so first of the harder exercises now, okay? So we're gonna do a little bit of a plank setting exercise. So before you put the band on, we're just gonna get into our position. Now the first exercise we're gonna do is a half plank, okay? If when we've done a few, the first set, the second time we do it, you wanna go into a full plank, that's fine. We're gonna teach you in that half plank. I think it's important to make sure technically we are correct. So half plank position, so that means your knees, hips and shoulders are in a straight line, little ab squeeze, hips just slightly stuck up if you want anything. What I don't want to see is people dipping down to the floor. Now all we're going to do from there, and again try and be at the back end of your mat as you do this, because we're going to walk your hands away, okay? We're going to try and maintain that ab squeeze as we slowly walk our hands away and then walk our hands back in. Now the range in which you go depends on your strength, how your shoulders are. But again, we want to get to a point where you feel a bit of a challenge into your abs to stabilize and a bit of a challenge into your arms and shoulders to walk away. Think about that pelvic tilt. So when we get down to this position, don't drop. Squeeze into your glutes and abs. Once you feel that you've got pretty comfortable with that movement, and it shouldn't take too long for that to happen, this is where we add the band and start to make this a challenge. We start to add the muscles around our shoulder, our rotator cuff and our deltoid, and we start to give you a bit more work. So again, it's just around the wrist. Don't put it too high up onto the forearms. And all I want you to do is have your hands a little bit apart, just so you can feel the tension on the band, okay? And what we're going to do is exactly the same movement, but as we walk the hands away, we've got to keep the tension on the band. Keeping the tension on the band will challenge your shoulders quite quickly. So again, rest at the top. But again, challenge that range as much as you feel necessary, keeping that tension on that band, getting the abs to squeeze and engage. If you haven't got the mini band, the long band again can just be tied in a position where it's in that same thing, just so when your hands are shoulder width apart, you feel a little bit of tension. Either that or you can wrap it round a few times, that way it makes kind of a short band with lots of tension. So again, don't make it too tough yet. Again, we're not halfway through yet. We're just really prepped and starting to work harder. We're going to go for another 3, 2. Okay, last time. So one more repetition for me. Good. This time when we come back in, we're going to hold. Take the hands a fraction wider than normal. Curl your toes under and lift your knees 1 inch off the floor. So we're going to do a little 4-point kneeling hold. Keep the shoulders away from the ears. And just lift the knees. For another 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Knees down, back into that half plank. Walk the hands away. So we combine the exercises now. Walking the hands back in. When the hands are below your shoulders, bring your knees in and lift the feet. Lift from the feet so the knees come up 1 inch. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Knees down. We can do that one more time. Little shift forward, walking the hands away. And walking back. Good. Hands below the shoulders, knees below the hips. Push through the feet, lift the knees 1 inch. 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Very good. Take a few seconds just to break. I'm going to open a window because it's getting quite hot in here. Okay, we're starting to feel the arms and shoulders a little bit. I hope so. I certainly hope so. Okay, luckily for you, we're going to do that same sequence again. Okay, so we're going to start with the arm walk, and then we're going to go into adding that 4-point kneeling lift. Okay. So again, hands into the band, just onto the outside of your wrist, not too high. Okay. Half plank position. Same again, squeeze your glutes, squeeze your abs, be stable. Keep the tension on the band as you walk the arms away. Keep the tension as you walk the arms back in. We're going to do that 8 times. And then we're going to add some lifts for the last 3. If you need to reset, go into a little stretch. If you feel it into your lower back at all, drop into a child's pose stretch. If not, keep walking the hand away. Keep trying to hold your position. Keep that tension out onto the band for me. Okay, 3 reps to go. We're going to add those knee lifts now, okay? So, walk the hands away, same as before. Challenge the shoulders, challenge the abs. When we come back in, bring your hands right under your shoulders. Let your knees shuffle forward a tiny bit. Push through the feet. Lift the knees up 1 inch. We hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Knees down. Hands forward a tiny bit, back into that half plank position. And again, we walk up. Keep the tension into the shoulders. Hands below the shoulders. Knees under your hips. Push through the feet. Lift the knees up. 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Knees down. Hands forward a little bit. Back into that half plank. One last time for me. Walk away. Challenge your range this time. Keep the abs squeezed. See if we can go that little bit further. Coming in. Nice and controlled. Keep the width on the band. Hands below the shoulders, knees below the hips. Push through the toes, lift the knees up. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Relax. Drop your hips down to your heels, your chest to your knees, and just drop into a child pose stretch. Just to make sure there's no tension into your hips or back after creating that half plank position. And just hold in that stretch for me. Alright, good stuff. Grab yourself a quick drink if you wish. We're going to move on to a couple of upper body movements now. A little bit more to do with your back. So let's do with your arms, more with your back, okay? If I'm feeling alright so far? How's everyone's shoulders after that? hopefully okay. Again, feel free to leave me a comment if you are feeling it. If it's too easy, you want it hard, you need more options, you let me know, okay? Okay, so we're going to do some upper body pulling work. So we're going to do some rowing and some high pulling, okay? So we're ideally going to do this with the long band anchored to something. So I've got a door just very slightly out of shot here that's going to be perfect for me. So that means when I put it around it and I pull it, it's not going anywhere. Be really careful when you're doing this. If you're tying it to something that can move, I don't want you to break furniture. I don't want you to do it on a door that's suddenly going to open. Generally, if you're going to tie it to a door, it's always got to be on a door that you're pulling shut rather than pulling open, if that makes sense, into that room. Obviously, I don't want the door to open as you're doing it. If you can't find anything to anchor it to, find another person. If there's two people in the room, split it so that one of you's doing this whilst they're training, and the other one can also do it as well. Okay, let's go harder. Okay, that was the request. All right, so we're going to make it a little bit harder. We are just getting going. So we're going to go into a sort of basically a static row, and then we're going to do a bent over row and a high row, okay? So take a good bit of tension onto your long band, as long as you found somewhere to tie it to. From here, I'll go for an option if you haven't, okay? Soft knees, hips out, eye line looking at the bottom of whatever you've attached it to, if it's attached at waist height. Squeeze between your shoulder blades, pulling back, and let the arms come out. You're trying to get that movement into the middle of your back, okay? What I don't want you to do is hunch your shoulders up. I want you to squeeze under your armpits. As you pull in, we're still thinking about your abs. So a little ab squeeze, okay? Always thinking about our abs, okay? Squeeze into your ab and control. We're going to do 12 repetitions here, okay? Squeezing into the middle of our back. Try and pull your shoulders apart. Almost feel like your shoulders are going out to the back corners of the room. Stretch across your chest. Good. 2 more. Good. Now we're going to do a higher row, okay? So that grip, all I want you to do is that underhand standard rowing grip, we're going to change. So we're going to go overhand with the grip, okay? So slightly high position now, so we're going to be up taller, squeezing your abs. Don't take as much tension on the band, but pull it up now so it comes just above your collarbones and back. So just above your collarbones and back. So you can call this a high pull, kind of a face pull, high pull combination. The same movement as squeezing your back. Don't pop your ribs forward, squeeze into your glutes and abs. Some people find this more comfortable balance-wise by having one foot just in front of the other. Wherever you're comfortable, as long as you can feel the muscles in your upper back working, I'm happy. Again, we go for 12. Good, lovely work. Okay, so hands go back into a normal rowing grip. And again, we're going to go back into that slightly soft knee, slightly soft hip, squeeze between your shoulder blades. We're going to keep going here. We're going to do another 60 seconds here. I'm just going to talk about some options if you don't have a long band. So if you don't have a long band here, again, the short band, you can just take a good grip, try and pull it apart. So you're creating a little bit of tension into it. Squeeze in between your shoulder blades and back out. Relax the grip, squeeze out, so grip it and pull it apart. Pull between your shoulder blades, and again. Good squeeze, pull it apart, pull between your shoulder blades. That replaces your rowing movement. The high pull is just the same, except this time you're just going to create just a tiny bit of tension with your thumb and squeeze between your shoulder blades. A little bit of tension with your thumb, squeeze between your shoulders. That helps us to keep the elbows wide. Sometimes we grip, we pull our elbows down. We want that high elbow position for that high row, okay? So again, we're going for 12 reps, so a couple more. Really feel you're moving your shoulder blades into the middle of your back. You want to feel them coming together. One more time, squeeze and hold. 3, 2, and 1. Change the grip, overhand grip, so knuckles are up. Split stance, if that feels more comfortable for you. Pull between your shoulder blades, control the hands out in front. Squeezing and control. Keep the head up, keep the abs engaged. Good. 2 more. 1 more time. Good, not bad at all. Shake the arms out, give yourself a little break. You're going to do that 1 more time. Go for a 3rd set of these. Again, if you need to make this harder, and you're controlling that, not me, take more tension. The further down the band you go, the more tension you're pulling against, the harder you're going to work, okay? So make sure you take that tension for me. Hey Rach, nice of you to join halfway through, I see ya. Any exercise is better than none, huh? Glad you're here. So, good squeeze and control. Squeeze and control. Good ab position, pull in the middle of your back. Good, after 12 we go into the high pull. So again, split stance, doesn't matter which way around you do it, your legs aren't really working. From there, pull between the shoulder blades, pulling the hands apart a little bit as we do it, squeeze in the middle of your back. Try and keep the head up on this one, keep the abs engaged. Couple more, 1 more. Good, lovely work. Again, shake the arms out, give yourself a quick drink if you need to. We're now going to move into what we call anti-rotation, okay? So this is about controlling against rotation. Now again, you're going to need something to anchor this to, ideally. Again, make sure whatever you're doing isn't going to move whilst you do this. So, one hand goes inside, so in this case it's going to be my right hand. Left hand is going to link with your right hand. You're just going to bring the band just in front of your chest and you're facing straight forward. Wherever it's anchored to is literally just exactly to your side, okay? From that position, all we're going to do is create tension. So keep the squeeze on the band, feel the tension, hold your position, and try and push the arms away without letting the resistance drag you across. Then the arms get straight. From there, slowly allow yourself to rotate back towards where the band is coming from. Pull it back in towards your chest, and press away again. Control with the rotation. Bring it back in and press away. Keep your glute squeezed, especially the glute on the side closest to the band. What I don't want you to do as you rotate is just to turn your whole body, turn the hips, because then you're not rotating at all. So the idea as you push away is that your body's really still, this hip stays stable, so you're turning through your obliques and you'll feel the muscles in the side of your body work as you create that rotation. Keep controlling with that movement. As you bring the band in towards you, squeeze between your shoulder blades, keep your posture, keep your abs engaged. Your eye line should follow your hands as you rotate. One more time. Hands up, control. All the way in. Good stuff. You're going to spin around, do the same onto the other side. I'm going to stay facing this way, otherwise I think you looking at my back while I talk away from you isn't really going to help. So you're going to switch sides for me. So again, if that means just turning around 180 degrees, or if you have somewhere else you can attach it, so you can say looking at the screen you've got, whatever works for you. So same process, okay? So again, this time's going to be the left hand that's going to go inside. You're going to bring it in towards your chest. Good posture, stand up tall, good ab squeeze, good glute engagement. From there, push the arms away, keeping the tension into the band. Hold that position, then control, rotating to the left. Control, 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 control. Good. Bring the hands back in. Set the position, push the arms away, keep the tension in the band, and again we control again. And you should begin to feel your oblique muscles on the side of your body, just between your ribcage and your hips, working to try and control that movement. It's very simple with your obliques. Your obliques work to control rotational movements. If you're doing a side plank and you feel it inside your body, that's not your obliques working. That's kind of a bit of a myth that people get caught up in, that they might do side bends or side planks to work their obliques. Your obliques only are going to work whilst you're rotating, or in this case, resisting that rotation, trying to hold against it. Again, we're going for 12 repetitions here. Pull it in. Squeeze into that glute so that when the hands and your torso turns, your hip stays nice and still. Couple more times. Good, one more time. Good work, not bad at all. I'm going to do a second set. If you don't have a long band, we're just going to do rotation with the mini band, okay? So all that means we're going to do is take a kneeling position. So one knee down. So again, something just to protect your knee while you're down. Take a good grip. From there, whichever knee is forward, we are going to turn away from, keeping tension on the band and coming back. This enables you to stabilize your hips and work on that rotation. So again, 12 to each side. And we're going to get some inner thigh for me, okay? So again, the hand's going to go into the loop, bring it in. Think about holding and setting your tension. Pushing away, squeezing your shoulder blades, hold that position. Control as we rotate, bring it in, drive away again. Control, and back in. Set the upper body position. Squeeze into your glutes and abs so that you're not rotating, you're controlling that movement, okay? Good, last 3. Good, one more time. Good, we switch to the other side. Again, I'm not going to turn around, otherwise you're going to look on my back in a couple of minutes. But again, same idea, keep that tension. As you push away, don't allow your rib cage to pop. Don't let your chin drop. Stay tall, keep using what we've challenged so far. Pushing away, controlling as we rotate to the other side now. Feel those muscles into the side of your body start to work. Keep going. As we press away and control, look at your hands as we rotate. Don't allow that hip to deviate, okay? Push away, control, and we rotate. Keep setting that position each time. Use your abs, use your glutes. Control through it. Time for another 4. Again, if you've got that mini band, you're on one leg. Make sure you're getting an even amount on each side, but again, focus on keeping that hip still as you rotate. Time for one last rep. And shake it out. Good stuff. Take the band, unhook it from whatever it is attached to for me. And we're going to give your obliques and your upper body a bit of a rest now. We're going to work back into your legs, okay? So we're going to do some deadlifts, we're going to do some squats, okay? I'm also going to give you an option for how you can use this to work through your inner thighs, which is one of the requests. So again, please do send your requests if you have things that you specifically want to do. Okay, so we're going to start with a deadlift, okay? We want hamstring tension. That's what we're trying to create with a deadlift. It's the best exercise ever, and not enough people do it, okay? So we're going to teach you what's called an RDL, a Romanian deadlift, okay? That means we're going to have a slightly soft knee position. So both feet onto the band for me. And you're going to take enough grip, so probably just below your knees is perfect, and stand up nice and tall. Feet hip width apart. Slightly soft knee position. So don't push the knees forward, just go from 100% to 99. So it's just a little bit of bend. And the rest of the movement here comes from your hips. You're going to try and push your hips out as if you're sitting on something too far away. As you do that, you'll start to lean from the top half of your body, and your hands, you're not reaching your hands for the floor, but as you lean into it, your hands are going to get closer to the floor. As you create that forward flex position, you're going to start to feel hamstring tension. Now again, everyone's range is going to be really different here. So I want you to get enough tension so that you feel a stretch. Pause. To come back up, we squeeze into our glutes, okay? We clench them, we push them forward. What we don't do is lift up through our ribs and through our chest, okay? So down, feel tension into the back of the legs, squeeze into your glutes. Soft knees, push the hips out, feel a good bit of stretch, squeeze your glutes. And as you do each repetition, see if you can get just a fraction more range. If you can get yourself all the way down to the floor, that's perfect. Now, the difficult bit, as you do this, maintain your upper body squeeze. We just did a really good set of rows, really deliberately, so you could translate it into this exercise, okay? So as you go down to the floor into that stretch, don't lose your position, do the opposite. Really squeeze your abs and glutes, create that pelvic tilt, pull between your shoulder blades, get down, feel really good tension, squeeze your glutes. Control, come down, feel the tension in the back of your legs, and squeeze your glutes. Keep going through that range. Having good hamstrings protects your back. You work in an office, you sit a lot, you're someone who has a bad lower back, you have tight issues with your lower back, I promise you, doing deadlifts will make you better. People think they're going to make you bad if you do them badly. Yeah, you can. But do them, you will get strong. Good. One last time. Good, and relax, very nice. From there, we're going to go into a single leg deadlift. Now again, you can do this with the band as you did before, but just around one leg. But I'm going to show you an option with the mini band as well, so we get a bit more tension. So that just means you're going to have just around the toes of the foot, one leg in front. Take a good grip and stand up. Now again, if your mini band is quite tight, you might find this a bit of a challenge. If so, you may have to start from a slightly bent position, but like before, back leg is slightly bent, front leg is slightly straight and slightly in front. Hold your posture, control down, push the hips out, create the flexion, feel the stretch in the back of the leg, squeeze the glute. So we're going down, you're feeling tension, you're creating it into the back of the leg and squeezing to come back up. You're using that tension to create the movement. Think about the resistance bands that you are using as the same as your muscles. That's what we're trying to do. We're creating tension for them to be powerful from. Once you've done 8, switching legs. So again, slightly offset stance, good posture, slightly soft back knee, straight front leg. Get that tension into the back of your leg. Each repetition, you might get a fraction more range. Good, one more time. Good, lovely work. Again, shake the legs out. Maybe go into a hamstring swing, just to get a bit of stretch into the back of the legs, just getting a bit of movement. You can do that on both sides for me. Again, make sure you're not going to kick anything. Good. Luckily for you, we're going to do both of those exercises one last time, okay? This time, be a little bit wider with the feet. We want to talk about using your inner thighs. So we're going to come a little bit wider with that deadlift now, okay? Turn the toes out slightly in what we call a sumo deadlift. So, good bit of tension onto the band. Stand up nice and tall. Push the hips out. Try and push the knees apart as you create that tension on the way down. Control, feel the stretch, pause, come back up. Too often when we do inner thigh exercises, and this goes for the lady who requested them, that we do them in isolation. So you might do a static squeeze of your inner thighs together, and that's not really how they work. It's not a particularly helpful exercise to do. It doesn't help to add any muscle tone in any way, shape or form that's going to help. What we've got to do is get your inner thighs to work within normal movement. So push the knees wide. That's going to feel a bit of tension into your inner thighs as well as your hamstrings. And your hamstrings are 3 muscles, so there is an inner hamstring towards your adductors, your inner thigh muscles. That's also going to get a bit of work here, okay? Keep going down, try and get a bit more range, get a bit more stretch. I will always be as technical as I can to give you as much advice. If anything I say during these sessions is either a little bit too much or you don't understand, just shout me a message and I'll happily explain in more detail to help you get a little bit more out of your training. A couple more repetitions for me, try and get a little bit more range. And relax, very, very good. Not bad, hamstrings work nicely. Pretty happy with that. So we're going to finish with a little bit of work for your shoulders now because time has flown by. I've been having fun, I hope you've been having fun, I hope you're working hard anyway. So again, if you need more, do more repetitions, do more sets. Again, like I said, I wanted to teach you as much today as anything else. So again, you can do this more and more. Okay, so we're going to start with a high pull. Both feet onto the band, feet a little bit apart. Take a good grip, knuckles forward, up tall, squeeze your abs, pull the elbows high, and back down. 12 times. Elbows level with your shoulders, not above. Don't lift the shoulders, pull from the arms. I'm going to keep a little bit of tempo as we do it. One more. Good, nice and easy. Take one foot out, and then we're going to go into a lateral raise. So that means you're going to take a grip of the band, thumb pointing up. Good ab squeeze. Lift the band up so your hand is level with your shoulder, and back down. You go for 8 on each arm. Good, switching over. Again, grip, so your thumb is up, reaching up, and down. Hold your posture. Use the muscles in your arm, don't hunch the shoulder up. One more. Good. Keep the loop around that foot, grab it with the opposite arm. We're going to go into a frontal raise now. So, thumb pointing up still, it's up in front of you now. Try not to hunch the shoulder. That little bit of angle is going to work. Muscles around your shoulders and your armpits. 8 repetitions, hand only as high as your shoulder. One more. Good. Switching over again. Good posture. Reaching up. One last time. Good. Very nice indeed. Going to finish off with one more rowing motion, which is going to be a bent over row. And again, we focus a little bit on those back muscles because often without resistance it's hard to work them. So we've done a little bit more of them today than you may normally have done. Take a good grip. Same kind of deadlift position we had before. So slightly soft knees, hips pushed out. Take a good bit of tension. From here, we squeeze between your shoulder blades and relax. Squeeze and relax. You're maintaining a good position, squeezing into your abs, using those muscles into your upper back. Eye line is straight ahead. Don't lift the head up. Don't tuck the chin down. Don't look at your shoe. Good. 3 more repetitions. 2 more. 1 more time. Good. And relax. Very good. Grab the band, one hand at each end, like we did at the start. A big arm opener. You can do this a little bit as you walk around your room. Keep a little bit of work and movement into the legs as well. They worked a little bit as well as the upper body. Keep the abs engaged as you move forward. If you feel you want a bit more of a stretch into your side, you can create a loop where you circle around your body as well. Good stuff. Like we did earlier, one hand for balance. Take a big swing of the leg forward and back. And switching legs. Good, and shake it out. Make sure you drink plenty of water. And I hope you've learned some great things today. I hope you worked a little bit as well, of course. The resistance band classes will be the same time on a Wednesday every week now. And again, we're going to get harder and challenge you, but I really want to make sure we're teaching you at the same time about some of the basics to start with here so that you can train at home when I am not on Instagram Live, when you necessarily don't have access to someone who's teaching you how to do it. I hope you had fun. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave me some feedback again, any requests, anything you really want to specifically do within next week's class with resistance bands. And again, we'll do a little bit more inner thighs, as that was something that was requested as well. But again, happy to take on any requests. Any feedback about the class, anything you'd like to see. Also, don't forget that Pilates tomorrow morning at 9 AM. Again, we're going to be focusing on a little bit more core work. So yeah, hopefully I'll see you tomorrow, and I look forward to hearing from you. Have a great day and enjoy the sunshine.